What's up, guys? It's John Dominique, the Soul Proponent. Today, I want to talk about this feeling of scrambling, or this sense of scrambling when the ego personality begins to approach the soul and the truth of God. The process is kind of disturbing because it sweeps the rug from underneath our feet. The ground our foundation is shaken pretty badly. We're so used to having an identity to fall back on, this sense of being comfortable in who and what we are. And we've invested like a lot of time and effort and energy into becoming this person of who we want to be, this idea. But ultimately, these are just ideas and thoughts and images in our heads, in our minds, that don't actually exist. But we depend on them for our sense of existence because we wouldn't know what else to do. In order to let go of these images, ideas, and thoughts and beliefs, it's very scary. Once we do we see how attached we are to these and the sense of identity, how attached we are to the sense of identity, then we start to see, what kind of a bind we're in, how much of a hole we've dug in for ourselves. And that becomes very scary. It becomes terrorizing. The identity doesn't know what else to do. It starts to go crazy, and things get worse before they get better, in the sense that there's a feverishness. At least I did when I was on the path. I found myself wanting to get lost in activity, even if it was just little small things, trying to fix things and adjust things and make things perfect. I was always striving to do something. And if we look at that really closely, really deeply, it's kind of interesting because, the only way we can know the truth and the soul and God is by contrasting that sense of activity with the truth of silence and stillness. And we can see this feverishness. We can see that activity. We can see how badly the ego is trying to avoid that total stillness and silence. It doesn't want to face the vulnerability, so it goes scrambling multiple times. It happens. So what we need to be aware of with this scrambling is that it's part of the process. We have to have compassion for ourselves. We just need to watch it and see what we're trying to do. See how badly we're attached to avoiding the emptiness, the silence, the stillness that would result if we had stopped scrambling. That scrambling is like our best effort to avoid the process of spiritual awakening, because the spiritual awakening is the antagonist to the ego identity. The ego identity is very proud. It's very strong. It's not going to go out without a fight. And like I said, things get a lot worse before they get better. So we just need to be aware that that's a part of the process and allow it to happen. And just allow things to get worse before they get better. It's part of what we have to go through. There's no way around it, unfortunately. The ego is scrambling. So in the story where Jesus goes to the other side of the lake and he heals the man with the voices in his head, the legion of voices, and he sends that legion into the pigs, and the pigs go over the cliff and they drown in the water. That's what that miracle symbolizes, our own process of spiritual awakening. It represents our own scrambling of how crazy we go on the path. Just goes to show you that the ego has nothing else it can do but to continue to try to fight. And it takes a tremendous amount of patience and compassion to allow that to happen, and to just see how badly the ego is scrambling. That's part of the process. So, just my advice is just to be compassionate with yourself. Allow it to happen as part of the process. It's normal. You will go crazy. It will take a lot of times for you to go crazy like that, because it'll go in spurts, kind of like it'll It's like a progressive thing. It'll happen, and then you'll get real silent and still for a while, but then here comes more scrambling, and it seems like it's getting worse than the last time. But if you continue to allow that process and to trust it, the scrambling will happen, like, the spurts will happen more with more time. It'll be longer time in between the scrambles as you go along, and you'll notice that it gets less and less. It'll slowly start to wither if you just keep the light of consciousness on it and continue to pay attention to your process and see what's happening and just stay with it. And that's part of the process. It's very difficult. It's terrorizing, but that scrambling is part of the process. We just have to allow that to happen and allow it to take its course. John Dominique, the Soul Proponent. Peace.